Welcome back, guys, to The Core. Today, I'm here with
Josiah Ferguson.
Josiah Ferguson, a writer here from Southern California. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. So blessed to be out here under this amazing sunlight on a beautiful day. So let's just start with our first question. Why should we care about Josiah Ferguson?
I ask myself that question every morning. No. I really have a focus on writing as a way of helping my community. Writing for me began as a thing that I did to help myself improve my mental health, just be able to process my emotions a lot. And I think over the last couple years, my writing has definitely changed to more what wisdom that I want to impart onto other people.
Yeah.
I have a big focus on some kind of like psychology. The way that we interpret dreams is a big thing that I write about. And I think that once you learn how to write well, you'll be able to learn how to process your emotions and your feelings well.
Yeah. Man, he's just like going down my question list and ticking them all off. Let's just talk about the fact you love writing about dreams. Tell us about that. Like, how did that love for it start? Why does it matter to you, and why do you keep writing about them?
Well, there's this writer I follow, Savannah Brown. Shout out Savannah Brown if you're watching this.
Brown.
She made a post on Substack, and I believe she may have also uploaded it as a YouTube video. But it was basically just a dream journal. That was all it was. It wasn't polished or anything. It wasn't made to be consumed by a large amount of people. It was just an upload of her dream journal. And I found that idea really inspiring. I've always been interested in dreams. And so I just started writing my dreams down every morning after I would have them. I would just go onto my notes app, type them, sometimes have to record them if I was too lazy to type.
Really?
And the more I started to do that, I started to understand myself a little bit more. You know, the emotions and feelings I would be having in the days before, I'd start to see those same themes come up in my dreams. At that point, I went to Barnes & Noble and I checked out Sigmund Freud's On the Interpretation of Dreams, started reading a bit more about it, and realized just how much your dreams are projections of what you're already feeling.
Yeah. I feel like that's such personal things you write about too. I mean, sharing your dreams is almost like directly sharing a part of your consciousness. Has it ever been hard to share something that personal?
I mean, there were definitely times where it was. I believe the first post I made on Substack was my dream journal. I had collected about 7 months at this point. I'm coming up on a year of dream journaling. And it definitely was hard. I mean, there were times where it was a very silly dream. You know, I'd be, I don't know, riding on a horse on a different planet. There were other times where it was stuff that, you know, had happened a few days before. I had lost a good friend of mine, and he had started to come up in dreams. So at that point, that was definitely, I think, difficult for me to write about. There are times you'll see in some of the dreams where you just have big, long blocks that cover out certain parts. I think, though, the ability to share things that are more intimate about your dreams and about your personal feelings in life, when you're writing for yourself, I believe you develop a better audience. If you're writing with people in mind, you change certain things and you self-edit and you take things out that they won't like. So the ability just to be honest and open and just get it all out, what's there, it's definitely important.
So it starts with writing about you, writing for you. It's not just for the fans, but then that's how they actually come to you, right? It's about your vision, not tailoring it for somebody else, right?
Exactly.
And that leads to real authenticity, right? That's great. I'm sorry to hear about the friend that you lost, and I wanted to ask, have there ever been things that just are too hard to write about or too weird to write about? Something you were just like, what the heck even happened? Like, how could I even put this into words?
That's a really good question. Definitely. I mean, there's definitely experiences I haven't written about yet, just because, you know, it gets to a certain point where you feel like you're not ready to talk about it. And not even necessarily that, you know, it's too difficult and you'd be going through too much turmoil writing about it, but just that you haven't processed it yet. And I think being able to process, I process things through writing and through talking. So I've definitely found at times that even those things that are really difficult to talk about become easier once you start writing about them. There's definitely things that I think I haven't written about, not because I feel too distressed to write about it, but just I don't think I would do it justice yet. I don't have, you know, the story hasn't completed. And looking back, I might be able to see an arc where now it just feels like an experience I'm still going through.
That is awesome. So I wanted to ask you another question. How has the life you've lived affected your writing? Your upbringing, the life you live now, how has that impacted how you write or the way you approach writing?
That's a great question. I mean, I have had a crazy life already. I grew up overseas in Africa for 7 years. I've been all over the world, even from a young age. Experienced loss when you're a kid and you leave your home country.
Yeah.
Even if it's back to the country you're a citizen in, it definitely affects your sense of belonging, and just the environment that you grow up in is very different. So I think the travel I've done throughout my life definitely affected that. And I've been very inspired by stories of people who are looking for belonging in a new place.
Yeah.
Those are the stories that always stick out to me.
Yeah.
Are the ones where people are kind of trying to find their niche,
Yeah. On that note, what stories inspire you? Like, are there certain authors or books that you'd recommend maybe to our audience, or what books?
Definitely.
Poetry?
I actually brought one with me just in case.
Wow, look at this.
Would be asked. I've got my little pocket copy of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. One of the greatest books ever written. The greatest science fiction book ever written, in my opinion. That story has always been very inspiring to me. As somebody who's struggled with doubt in my religion and in my faith, I think the story of Frankenstein really... It's a very important story. It's very revealing. I've always felt connected to the characters in the story. There are times where I've felt super connected to, Victor Frankenstein, who's this young guy he really has like the whole world out for him that he's trying to reach. Yeah. And he creates this thing that he's wholly unprepared to deal with. And there's times I feel like that, especially with writing. Yeah. I feel like I'm bringing something into existence in the world, and I don't always know how to handle it.
You're
becomes
making
larger than life. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think more often than feeling like Victor, I feel like the creature at times, where there's that sense of abandonment that I think many people who experience religious doubt experience, of wondering why your creator isn't talking to you, wondering what your place in this world is. And so Frankenstein has always been just this beautiful, beautiful book that I've been very inspired by. I believe you also mentioned poets. Edna St. Vincent Millay is another wonderful poet. She has a series, I think there's 3 of them, although I only know the first 2, called First Fig and I think Second Fig. And those have been all-time great poems for me. Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, even that book is such a good book. All Macabre is like... Yeah,
and the Guillermo del Toro adaptation that just got released last year was so beautiful. I felt like he really touched on everything that that stood out to me in the book. Like, some of the stuff that you see ahead of time now with some of Sigmund Freud's analysis of it, and his usage of colors in that film was just so beautiful.
Oh, dude, don't get me started, bro. I could sit here and talk about color grading in films all day, dude. Yeah. But to get back on topic, that is amazing. I mean, this guy literally came with the book. With the book, right? So
fully prepared.
You're prepared. But this is something you might not have prepared for. If you had to describe the way you write in one sentence, one short sentence, not like a huge run-on.
Sure.
How would you describe it? Take some time to think, unless you already know.
It's going to be more fractured, jagged words, not in a sentence. I would say the 2 words are honest and intimate.
That's good.
That's what I would tell my audience.
Yeah, honest and intimate. Why do you think you write that way?
Again, it's kind of something I touched on a little bit. I went through this phase in my life where I would write and then I would delete, write and delete. And I think the problem was I wasn't writing for myself. I was writing to be renowned. I remember telling my previous partner that I wanted to be remembered as one of the greatest writers in the U.S. of my era. Yeah. And I think about that now and laugh, because my desire at that point was to be known by people and to have a large audience. And everyone wants to have a large audience. That's what we're incentivized to have. But that's why I was writing. And I think now I've realized that my writing has improved when I'm writing for myself. When it's literal journal entries that I'm like, you know what, I'll upload that. Yeah. So I believe that's the reason my writing style, my viewers would probably agree, is intimate and honest. It's me writing for myself. And if people like that, if they like me, then that comes second to doing it for myself.
That's amazing. I love that. That's honestly something we could all try to do better, is not just do things for others, but for ourselves first, right? Because I feel like that's where real expression may come out of. That's amazing.
Definitely.
Let's see. Now you talk about your viewers a lot, but for those watching, how would you describe people that, like, let me see how do you word this. What type of people do you think would most emphasize with your work? Definitely. Who do you think you would recommend this to? If you saw this archetype person walking by, you're like, hey, read my writing because you love it.
Yeah, this is my moment for self-promo.
Exactly.
That's a very good question. I think the people, if you're a person who is interested in psychology to any degree, if you're interested, I'm just listing the topics I write about. If you like short stories, if you have been through experiences that seem very small when you talk about them to someone, but were actually very meaningful to you, I think you would maybe gravitate toward my writing. I just recently wrote a story called The Rifle, the Father of the Man.
That's good.
And that was based on an experience that I can sum up in one sentence, which is just, it was about religious doubt. But the story on its own is just completely different. It's just about a man cleaning his rifle. And I think when you tell people, I struggle with my faith, a lot of times they go, oh yeah, I understand, just pray about it. And then when you're able to take something and then write it longer in something that, a short story that seems very different, but then when you look at it in a different light, is exactly about religious doubt. I think viewers, if you resonate with, if you question your faith or anything like that, I think that's definitely something that the viewers would resonate with.
Yeah.
It's my long-winded answer.
Yeah. On that point of doubt, and just, you talk about earlier, it's, writing helps with your mental health and with understanding yourself. Do you think that when you can actually put these thoughts to word, well, I kind of said it a little bit, but when you put these thoughts to word, does it help you understand where you're at and maybe process those things better? And
definitely
does it affect that process?
Definitely. It definitely affects the process. There's definitely the part of it where you just logistically, when you're working through something, you need to write all your ideas down or you will forget about them.
Yeah.
At least that's me.
Yeah.
But the ability for me to take my time, I write on a typewriter.
Really?
All my first drafts are on a typewriter, and then I'll upload them on a computer.
Yeah.
But the ability to take your time, work through things slowly, it changes your perspective. If you're thinking on the fly about something that you're going through, you're going to come to conclusions because you're only talking to yourself in the brain. But then you're now talking, when you're writing, with the editor and the publisher and the person who thinks, is this going to be good enough for an audience?
Yeah.
And it does change. It can change it for better, for worse. I think definitely, though, it helps me process all those things I can't quite say when I'm thinking on the fly, when you take your time and go slow.
Yeah. And so would you say that becoming a writer, or more so spending more time writing and dedicating more of your time to writing, has that helped you grow? In a sense, has that helped you understand a lot more? Or do you think that it's changed you and helped you grow in a different way?
I think it definitely has helped me for the better. I think I was unprepared for how much I would begin to understand myself when I began journaling my dreams. Doing that really helped me realize that those things that I thought were insignificant, that I was like, what, it doesn't matter to me, I just let it roll off my back, were actually very significant to me, enough that my subconscious kind of grabbed it and said, we need to think about this a little bit more. There's a reason why we keep giving you these dreams. I think it's definitely given an understanding of myself, and it's allowed me to be more kind to myself. To realize that sometimes things do affect me more deeply than I let on,
Yeah. So then would you recommend that other people also write about their dreams? And if so, how should they go about doing that? What if they don't have a vivid vision of their dreams, like myself in particular?
Absolutely. So definitely 1,000, if there's anything you get from this interview, it is write your dreams down. For somebody who doesn't have many vivid dreams, your dreams improve the more your brain is like a muscle, and you're practicing and you're exercising that muscle of remembering your dreams. And so if you look at my dream journal, the first one was very vivid, and that's just because that was just a signal to me like, wow, that was vivid, I need to write this down. But all of my first dreams are very, very mundane. Sometimes I even write in my dream journal, I had a dream about hiking. I don't remember anything else that happened to it.
Yeah.
But just for the person who feels like they can't remember your dreams, there was a study that they did recently, which is that if you wake up after REM sleep, you're more than likely to forget 85% of your dreams. If you wake up early in the morning and immediately write down your dreams, you recall something closer to 60% of your dreams. Don't fact check me on that. I'll find the source later. So my advice would be, as soon as you wake up, just write your dreams down. Even if you don't remember details, just write them down as soon as possible, because your brain will forget.
Yeah.
Just include as many honest details as you can. Don't try to interpret it or self-edit it or come up with your interpretation on the spot. Just write it down and then later return to it and say, I think this is what it may have been about.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely had a lot of dreams that you can recall, right?
Definitely.
I mean, after writing them down and analyzing them and thinking about them, is there one you'd like to share with us? Or like a story you learned out of a certain dream, or something that the audience might be interested in, a little peek into what you kind of write about?
Sure, definitely. One dream that I definitely remember, it's one of the most significant ones I've had, is around August of last year, I started to go through very intense religious doubts and questioning. I felt that my faith in the religion I grew up in definitely had changed a lot. And in this dream, I was in my childhood apartment, and it was kind of weird the way the dream built it, but in the childhood apartment, there was a greenhouse in the living room. The floor was dirt, and there were vegetables growing everywhere. And my whole family was picking them. They had this routine every morning where they would go and they would pick the vegetables out of this garden in our apartment. And I tried to follow along, and I felt as though I was falling behind. I wasn't doing it at the same pace as them. It just looked very different for me. And some of my family members were mocking me as I was trying to match their pace. And I remember there was a moment where I shouted at one of them. I said, enough is enough. Like, I'm doing my best here. And as soon as I said that, I remember my brother and myself were swarmed by bees, and then I woke up.
That's
very,
crazy.
Very random dream. The interpretation I have kind of sat with after that, though, was I was going through some of the most intense doubting I've ever been through in my faith. And that shared ritual I had with my family of, getting up and, praying every morning and reading your Bible every morning and going to church every Sunday, I felt like that was being disrupted, and I wasn't doing the same communal ritual with my family as I had always done before. And I felt like if I told people about how I'm struggling and falling behind, and it's actually a lot harder for me to believe, that they would mock me for that. And if I said anything about it, that I would go through turmoil and blame myself. So seeing a dream that would normally be, that was very random, why did I get swarmed by bees, became just this understanding of myself, of why this was so significant to me, and that it was much more important than I was letting myself believe.
Yeah, that is awesome. We have a couple more questions, then we're going to wrap it up.
All right, perfect.
This has been a great conversation so far.
It has.
Has there ever been a dream that was almost scary, that felt too real, like you weren't in a dream?
Oh, definitely. I remember my very first lucid dream. By the way, journaling your dreams will help you lucid dream. Yeah. Something I was unprepared for. I remember in this dream, I was seeing clones of my ex show up everywhere, which was very scary. Yeah. And there was a point in the dream where I realized I was lucid dreaming and I could do stuff like I made myself fly. And I told somebody in the dream, I know you're not real. And they started freaking out. Don't tell people in lucid dreams that you know they're not real. They get really weird. I just remember he had kind of his face had turned into like a void and was like trying to get me. I was freaked out by that.
Sounds freaky, dude.
Yeah.
That sounds. I've heard some stories of those lucid dreams, and
yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah.
So be careful when you lucid dream.
Yeah.
Definitely try flying though. It's sick.
Dude, that's like the reason why I've always wanted to try it. I want to be able to fly.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like, does it feel real?
It feels almost like you've fixed a point in space. So, for example, I mean, the viewers can't see it from here, but there's a tree right there. When you fly in a lucid dream, it feels as though you've almost like you're Spider-Man, and you've selected a point and you travel towards that destination.
Yeah.
So it's more like you're moving a camera towards a place than it is actually feeling yourself lift up and fly.
Oh,
but it's definitely unique and hard to explain unless you've experienced it.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Do you think that, this is just a really weird question, but it's something that always comes up when people talk about dreams. Do you ever have dreams that kind of almost foreshadow events in your life? Like, have you ever had a dream where it's like, oh, something was going to happen and then it actually did happen?
I've had dreams similar to that. I get deja vu a lot, and there are times where I feel like I can predict what people are going to say next.
Yeah.
I've definitely had dreams like that, and I think my understanding has changed about those kinds of dreams. I used to believe they were prophecy, something of that sort, and my belief on that now is your consciousness actually is a lot more aware than you think, or your subconsciousness, I should say, is a lot more aware than you think it is. And there are times where there's just a general, there could be a bad vibe. You're not sure what's going to happen, but you think something is going to change. Something big is going to happen.
Yeah. Your
dream will interpret those emotions you're subtly experiencing without knowing, and it'll create a scenario that is very remarkably similar to whatever happens next, whatever follows. So I've definitely had dreams like that. Probably one that I've written down, none that I can remember off the top of my head, but I've had that experience before.
That's awesome. So we have 2 more questions.
Okay, perfect.
The first out of those 2 is, where do you see yourself going with writing? Like, is this like the end goal? Is this where you want your career to be, or is this just something you do to understand yourself better and to help other people understand themselves better? Definitely.
Well, I definitely aspire to be a novelist. I'm currently working on a manuscript for a book called The Dead Man's Library. So I see myself definitely wanting to become a published writer, writing books. But what I'm doing right now, I see that as a perfectly helpful and healthy practice that I want to continue to do, of just posting articles about random stuff that interests me. I definitely see myself doing that for as long as I have access to pen and paper and a platform to share it. End goal is definitely to become a published novelist. I don't necessarily need to be the biggest writer of my time or whatever.
We've all been there, right?
We've all been there, that ego. But definitely to have at least a few people find something that I write, and if it resonates with them, that's fantastic. At the end of the day, if it's just me that resonates with my own writing, I'm perfectly happy with that too. At least I've written something that I can say I'm proud of.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, the final bite of To the Core. The last question we have. Let's get to the core. This is a really deep question. I think this is the most philosophical question. I know you like writing about these grand ideas, these philosophical ideas, as you mentioned earlier. So I just want to ask you, what's the point? What's the point of writing? What's the point? You can interpret this however you want. I want to just give you a prompt almost. What's the point? Tell the viewers what's the point of something.
That's a great question. I see writing as kind of one of many, many mediums of art, which is, if you really think about it, what is the point of any art? What's the point of writing a song? What's the point of making a painting? It's you're capturing a human experience and trying to translate it into another form that other people can ingest and enjoy. I think the point of writing is that very thing, to capture the essence of a human experience that is so unique, and to create something for other people and for yourself. I would say the priority is for yourself. No matter what art form that you do, whether it's painting, whether it's music, whether it's writing, even ceramics, you do it for yourself, because there's something that you thought was inspiring enough to manipulate pieces of earth and paper and whatever else to explain that experience to someone. Your experiences are uniquely your own, and the ability to make something that is uniquely your own, it's an offshoot of yourself. So it's your way, it's your legacy, I suppose.
That's awesome. It's like a museum of the life you've lived.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. All right, Josiah, is there anything you want to end this off with? Where can we find you? What do you want to tell us?
Yeah, thank you. You can find me on Substack at Josiah Ferguson 06. That's Josiah Ferguson 06. I'm sure we can throw that up on the screen or something.
Yeah, it'll be linked down below too, guys.
But yeah, find me on Substack. I publish roughly once a week, and random poems too, sporadically. There's no guarantee on those. But yeah, just definitely check it out if you are into anything that you've heard today. And my last encouragement would be write everything. Write everything. Bring a journal with you. Write anything you want.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you are all feeling inspired to your cores. This has been To The Core. See you all later.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.